Will lead his new squad to his old stomping grounds in OKC on opening night. We now welcome an NBA reporter, Tim McMahon, who covers all things Texas NBA, all things Rockets. Tim, what were your first impressions when you saw the league schedule makers worked their magic and decided to have KD in OKC as the Thunder raised their first ever banner?
Howdy, Vanessa. I had a deep appreciation for the NBA's feeling for how to create a little bit of drama. How do you create drama with a bunch of Boy Scouts raising a championship banner to the rafters? You bring back the guy who spurned that city almost a decade ago. And look, Kevin Durant's free agency departure has kind of loomed over the Thunder franchise for years now. They got out from under that shadow last year. Obviously, this is about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder, a championship team, perhaps a dynasty that's blooming in Bricktown. But look, even Game 7 of the NBA Finals, what was the biggest story of that day? It wasn't Game 7 of the Finals. It was Kevin Durant being traded that morning, kind of his pursuit of happiness continuing now to a fifth stop of his NBA career. And where better for that edition of Kevin Durant's career to begin? Where it all began, back in Oklahoma City, and they're finally celebrating a championship there.
However poetic opening night may be, do you think it's going to serve as that closure for the Thunder organization and their fan base?
I mean, this will be one heck of a litmus test. Is this going to be about the angst of Kevin Durant or the celebration of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, of Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, and this team that just reeled off 68 wins, just won a championship, has a chance to potentially be a dynasty if they are ever going to not forgive, but kind of forget about the anger towards Kevin Durant. It will be on this night. Having said that, I'm not sure that he will ever be fully forgiven in Oklahoma City. I'm not sure that number 35 will ever be up in those rafters alongside that championship banner.
Might I add that Steven Adams and Jeff Green will be there too? Maybe that'll soften things up a little bit. I don't know. Mark, do you think the bad blood is there to stay?
It's time to let it go, at least from the Thunder franchise. I don't know that the Thunder fans are going to let it go anytime soon. But, like, I covered Carmelo Anthony, his first 8 seasons or his first 4 seasons in Denver, and that bad blood has never, went away. And now it looks bad. Carmelo's going into the Hall of Fame, and there's still not an olive branch between him and the Nuggets. And I remember seeing Vince Carter tear up when he went back as a player to Toronto, and they healed. Melo never got that. So what do the Nuggets do now? You know, now Joker is wearing his jersey. He deserves his jersey to be retired there. He's one of the top scorers of all time. And I think the Thunder need to get ahead of it. Do some things to make Durant feel good about his time there. He won an MVP. He led them to their first finals. He's going to make the Hall of Fame. Be the bigger person and get him back into the fold.
Be the bigger person. Asking that fan base that was in their feelings.
Thunder as an organization to be the bigger.
Oh, you're saying
person.
that not the fans.
No,
good,
not the fans.
Good clarification. Kevin Durant is a legend of the game. One of the 3 players that we are celebrating yesterday, I called them the trifecta: LeBron, Steph, and KD. KD coming back, I don't think it'll be welcome arms, always cheers, but it is momentous because it showed that the franchise has turned the page. They won a championship, and now turning the page maybe allows you to appreciate the past, and having Kevin Durant is great. The one thing that I love about this game is not just, what's happening outside the lines, what's happening within the lines. These are 2 teams that will compete for championships based off of their construction for the years to come. The Rockets finished number 2 in the West, and they added the piece that mattered, the one that will help boost their offense. They already have Ime. They already have the defense. They have maintained their young core, which includes an all-star in Alperen Şengün. And now you have the generational player that is going to hopefully bring them to the promised land. But the team that is literally trying to stop them, we get them on night 1. When they get their rings, when the banner drops, when you have the MVP and SGA, when you have these rising stars of Chet Holmgren and obviously J-Dub, it could not be a better situation. But I do think that there is some kind of absolution in the fact that this is the only franchise, this is the first time the franchise has a championship since Seattle, ever since it moved to OKC. So there's some peace there, but I don't know if the peace is going to, mean KD is going to be crying. I don't think KD's going to.
I don't know that KD's going to be shedding tears. And the NBA schedule makers definitely have a flair for the dramatics. That is for sure. All right, bringing it back to the here and now. The Rockets made a big splash trading for KD, but despite Houston being eligible to sign Durant to a 2-year, $118 million extension, no deal has been reached. So, Tim, I'm going to bring you in on this. Why do you think Rafael Stone and the Rockets front office are holding off on this?
Because there's not a sense of urgency to get it done right now. The Rockets have other business that they need to handle this summer, primarily the extension for Tari Eason. Look, it was a big splash. It was potentially the final piece that they needed to be a real deal contender, that go-to guy that they were sorely missing last season. Big splash, but they didn't push all their chips in. They were very patient as far as the pursuit of a trade for Kevin Durant. Matter of fact, I wouldn't say they pursued it. They waited till the price was at a value that they felt was comfortable for them. Kevin Durant's their best player. He's not necessarily their priority, and that's not an insult to him. Their priority is making sure that they have as long of a runway as possible while trying to cash in on this window that they created by getting Kevin Durant. And certainly, I think both sides want that to be more than a 1-year window, but it's not going to be a max extension. If that was the priority for Kevin Durant, it would have been done in conjunction with the trade, and he probably wouldn't have ended up in Houston. So I think you're going to see both sides take a patient approach. They will work together. But again, I don't think this is an urgent situation. And even if they get to camp, even if they get to the start of the season, if it's not done, I don't think you're going to see panic from either side. They want to work together. They want to position themselves to win a championship. And the Rockets want to be positioned to contend for championships long after KD has hung up his shoes.
Tim, I was nodding my head the entire time because one of my favorite parts of the Kevin Durant trade is that the Rockets did not give up all of their young core like a lot of teams do to get superstars. So, Mark Spears, do you like the way the Rockets are playing this?
I don't.
With
I
KD's
remember what happened in San Francisco, his last season with Golden State. The longer it takes, or if it doesn't happen, it's going to be something that's going to be talked about every day. And that's just how us as the media are, and Kevin answers questions. And I know it was a nightmare for Kevin and the Warriors his last season at Golden State, and it caused a lot of stress for him. And if this kind of action returns to Houston, I think this kumbaya that y'all two are having about how amazing the Houston Rockets are going to be, it's going to be a cloud that's going to be, you know, Kevin is honest. He holds his emotions on his sleeve. And if he gets asked about that every day, it's going to be a distraction.
But the
I'm laughing at Shanae, by the way.
I mean, I might be like the Rockets spokeswoman right here, but the circumstances of him going to Golden State, that was a whole different circus that he had to deal with. Same thing with Brooklyn and same thing with Phoenix. Yes, it was of his own. No. But what I'm saying is that when he first went there was a lot of criticism on him going.
Okay.
This is a different circumstance.
Right.
Going from Phoenix now to Houston, you could just tell. I saw him recently a couple weeks ago, like, he's in a good place. Now it's just playing basketball and competing and trying to win a championship again with a new core.
And he and Ime getting along so well. He and Rockets assistant coach Royale Ivy being very good friends.
Money
but
talks.
we are 100% on the